Okay, we're recording, we're on Facebook Live, we're on Zoom. Welcome everybody, and I'm just so thrilled to have this clean conversation tonight with three amazing women who are also physicians and rockstar Beautycounter consultants. And I'm just so excited to dive into why these women in particular decided to add something into their quite busy, fulfilling, important lives as doctors. And so just a brief intro. My name is Jocelyn Roseyoga. I am here in Toronto. I'm actually from the States originally. My husband plays with the Toronto Symphony most often. Right now, here we have one of his instruments, xylophone. Right now, the music is very still and silent, and it's super sad, but we are so grateful to have Beautycounter to put our passion and purpose into. So here in Toronto, my background is actually not in skincare or cosmetics either. My background is as an opera singer, a massage therapist, and a yoga teacher. So a lot of passion and a lot about wellness and purpose. And I heard about Beautycounter about 4 years ago and a bit reluctantly decided to add my voice to this mission. Once I really started to learn what was actually going on in this industry with the lack of regulation, I felt like it aligned so much with who I already was as a wellness practitioner, as a mom of, at the time, 2 little ones. Now they're not so little. My daughter had suffered from really extreme eczema and allergies, and just like realized that there was so much toxic chemicals that we were putting on her toddler skin every single day. And so one thing led to another, and I joined this amazing company and get to work with women like these women here. So I will introduce them in a moment, and they will each have some time to share their story as well. I wanted to give a little bit of background first on who Beautycounter is, who we are, a little bit on who we are not, and why this is so much more than just about an amazing lipstick or eye cream, which we have incredible products, but it's so much deeper than that. And so I'll just start by saying that something that I say often when I'm sharing about this company is that we really are not. I don't feel like we are a makeup company. Yes, we have makeup. Yes, we have skincare, but that is not the reason why this company was founded. This company was founded much more so, if you look at the word Beautycounter, the word counter is much bigger on our A list than necessarily lipstick, although again, we have great lipstick. We are out to counter the lack of regulation in this industry. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. We are also counter to the stigma that is this type of business model. I do think that there can be a stigma related to direct sales, and I think all of the women on this call will be able to share why it was an important enough opportunity and mission to look beyond that stigma, because it truly is something that is affecting ourselves as women and as human beings, but also as our children in terms of healthcare. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about what Beautycounter, like the 3 pillars that we're founded on, and also why it's important for all of us to be paying attention. So this is kind of the dry stuff. Like, it's not super, it's a little bit of a downer to hear some of these things, but I think it's also very important to hear these facts. So our founder and CEO, this woman named Greg Renfrew, had started to realize maybe 10 or so years ago that there was this serious lack of regulation in the US. And yes, I'm in Canada, so I'm going to tell you a bit about what's happening here as well. But this lack of regulation, dating back to 1938, there's been no major federal law in the entire personal care industry. And I'm just going to repeat that because it's so big and shocking that I think it's important to really let that sink in. Since the year 1938 in the United States, there's been no major federal law updating the entire multi-billion-dollar personal care industry. That means toothpaste, deodorant, baby lotion, baby wash, makeup, stuff that we're putting on our largest organ every single day. And so when she started finding this out, digging a bit deeper, welcome everybody as you guys are joining. She started digging a bit deeper and also found out that since that year in 1938, and again, this is like kind of the dry stuff, that there's been over 85,000 chemicals introduced into our society since that year. Less than 10% of those have been tested for human health and safety. And it's not to say that every one of those is stuff that we're putting on our skin, but we're exposed to a whole lot of toxic chemicals in our environment and the foods we eat, the water, what we're putting on our skin, it's all around us. And so one thing that we can make an educated and safe choice about is what we choose to put on our largest organ. And so that's a big part of why this company was founded, to educate our loved ones, to have conversations just like this, to share why it's important. So really education is one of is really the first pillar of this company and why this woman founded Beautycounter. The other kind of main pillar of this company is advocacy. And so we've never been about, let's make sure everybody buys Beautycounter. And of course, once you try it, you're probably going to want to buy it because it's really high performing, luxe, and safe, incredible products. However, this is not our goal. Our goal is to get safer, transparent, and conscious products on the market for everybody, whether they're shopping at a dollar store, online, in a department store, boutique, wherever they're going, that they're not going to be wondering, are there toxic carcinogen, hormone disruptors, and many other ingredients that are potentially or already known to be harmful for themselves and their families. So we go to Washington, D.C. as a company. We go to Parliament. Actually, speaking of Parliament, let me just say in Canada, I mentioned what's happening a bit in the US. There's about 30 ingredients. There's 30 ingredients banned in the US that are known to be harmful and questionable. In the European Union, that's compared to 1,400. So 1,400 ingredients in the EU versus 30 in the US. And let me just take us to Canada for a moment here. In Canada, there's 600 ingredients that we ban on this document. It's called the Hot List. And this list was formed much later than 1938. It was formed in 1999 through the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. However, that list is not codified into law. So that is one of the advocacy elements that Beautycounter is working on, to get that codified into law, to get stricter regulations both in the US and Canada, and the power to recall if something is indeed known to be or found to be harmful or even questionable. So advocacy is a huge portion of Beautycounter. We are countering this like archaic industry by going to Washington, going to Parliament. One of my personal biggest moments with this company was being sent to Washington, D.C. with 99 other consultants 2 years ago to lobby and meet with Congress and really feel that my voice was representing my clients that I work with, but also constituents, so that we could be a part of democracy and truly see change. And then the third pillar, and then I'm going to turn it over to these women, is the third pillar is our products. And our products, while they are high performing and safe, I honestly call them more often than calling them products. I call them our agents for change, because these products are literally the way that we are moving commerce to fuel a movement for better, and a movement where we have physicians joining us and lending their voices to educate people, lawyers and stay-at-home moms and teachers, yoga instructors, and so many more, men and women, that feel so passionately that this deserves attention and it deserves awareness. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to, so we have Zaria Rubin, we have Jessica Reggie, and Kristen Garcia. All three of them are physicians with different specialties who have also joined this movement in different times too. I think Zaria may be going on 2 or 3 years now. Same with Jessica, I think. And Kristen just joined a few months ago during the pandemic. And so I'd love to hear their stories and why they felt this was so important enough to add your voices, and how you work this as a business a little bit. Zaria, would you like to start?
Sure. Thanks, Jocelyn, for having me be part of this panel. I'm super excited. Yeah, I am a bit of an unusual physician in that I'm a neurologist by training. I was an adult neurologist and I specialized in epilepsy, but then I walked away from that and had like a million other careers, including working for the pharmaceutical industry. and including being a stay-at-home mom, which I still think is the hardest job. And currently I'm a health coach and have my own private practice. And I'm also pursuing a subspecialty advanced training in functional medicine. So we'll see where that takes me. But so I'm not your typical physician. And I think I've always had kind of an eye and a passion towards health and wellness. And I wanted to focus on that in my career. And I've always focused on that in my personal life. Grew up in a hippie household. We ate whole wheat bread and carob and all that crazy stuff that happened in the 70s and 80s. And so I had thought I was being really careful with my products and things like that, but I wasn't as intentional maybe as I could have been. And I would also just kind of buy stuff randomly at farmers markets or health food stores or whatnot, and assuming that all that stuff was safe and great, and also wondering if it really, worked. Because I am a lot closer to 50 than I am to 40. And I realized I had to kind of get a little more serious about skincare and wanted something that worked, but wanted something that was good for me as well. Because I realized that the skin is the largest organ that we have in our body, and anything you put on it, pretty much a portion of that you're going to absorb into your system. And so I was conscious of that, but yet naive in terms of, well, if there was a problem, I would probably know about it because I'm a physician and I worked in the pharma industry, and I saw how stringent and heavily regulated the drug industry is, and how it takes years for any kind of medication to get approved and put on the market. So I thought, well, for sure, there's tons of testing and regulation and whatnot in the cosmetics and personal care industry. That is not the case. So I had heard about Beautycounter. I had actually been introduced to it in the very beginning when it was just getting started, and I had a 6-month-old or an 8-month-old, and I was really not thinking clearly because I didn't jump on the bandwagon then, and was like, okay, I'm curious about it, but I don't know. And I had hesitations and reservations, which I can get into as well. But when I finally did try the products, I loved them. I thought they were great. They work great. I love that they didn't have much of a scent, because I really don't like heavily scented products. But I never in a million years thought I would do this, And my friend who I bought the products from was like, have you ever thought about doing this? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm a physician. I'm super busy. I am just starting my, practice. My kiddo is entering kindergarten. I'm buying a puppy. This is nuts. I can't do this. And she was like, but you have a really strong voice politically. Like, I see all the stuff you post on Facebook. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I am very political and always have been. I mean, I had a radio show when I was 10 years old that was called Kids' Rights. There are none. And I would sort of expose injustices in the world. So when I learned all of the things that Jocelyn spoke about earlier, the fact that there's such disparities between the EU and the US, that the EU bans 1,400 ingredients. The US, until recently, it was 11, and now it's 30. I mean, that's just, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does. And the fact that the laws haven't been changed since 1938, and then when I found out that Beautycounter consultants, like, they don't get a pink car or whatever, they got to go to Washington and lobby. I was like, well, sign me up for that, because maybe if I hadn't been a physician, I would have been a lobbyist. And so I just felt kind of this responsibility to myself, to any of my patients and clients, to my daughter who just turned 7, to educate and to be part of the solution and to help change the laws. And Beautycounter has been very active in different states in terms of actually passing stricter regulation that can help change this industry and move it forward. And I thought, like, gosh, this is so much more than a makeup company or a beauty company. And people might roll their eyes and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're selling lipstick or whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. It's not that. Because if it was that, why would I bother? And why would I be interested in that? So I was drawn to Beautycounter because of the mission, because of the political advocacy, because of the amazing products. And what I didn't really realize was how much I was going to benefit from and enjoy being amongst a community of like-minded women who, yes, maybe we're not all physicians. There's more of us than I expected, but we all had so much in common in terms of our passion and our drive and our desire to kind of make the world a better place. So yeah, gosh, was that enough? Did I cover it all? Should I add in some of my hesitations or?
Zaria, I mean, it was just so great. I just love hearing the way you share, and it just invites people in so much. So let's, just for time's sake, let's keep it there.
Sure,
But that's
sure.
so much. And we're going to pass the baton to Kristen over in Denver.
Yay.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Kristen Garcia, and I'm in North Denver. I am a mom to 2 toddlers and a fur baby who's almost 1. And I'm also an OBGYN physician. And I started out with Beautycounter, just dabbling with Zaria. I liked eyeshadow, things like that. And I was looking for something that would help with my dermatitis around my eyes, stop that. And then I struggled with infertility and acne really bad during my pregnancies and breastfeeding. And then also one of my kiddos had more eczematous changes like your child did, and bad scalp issues. So besides the makeup products, I started kind of dabbling in the skincare. I was really hesitant. I was on 3 topical medications and an oral medication for acne. And at this point, I hadn't even really paid attention to like anything about Beautycounter aside from products that I liked, just because I was too busy with 2 small kids. And then I started reading more about it. At that point, I had also read an article, and Jessica might speak to this, but the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with a statement about storing your kids' stuff in plastic. Don't heat things in plastic. There are hormone disruptors in plastics. And I was like, there are plastics in everything. Everything we use is plastic. And including every product that you have is stored in plastic. So how are we going to protect ourselves from plastics? And then I did some more research, and not only are things stored in plastics, they're blended into everything. So it's all the, the alphabet soup that you read on the back of things that you don't really know what those are. A lot of those are phthalates and parabens that we now know are hormone disruptors and can affect increased risk for cancer. And so at that point, I switched my kids' bottles all over to glass, stored my breast milk in glass. And I was like, I probably should be paying attention to this. And then I really wanted to get off all the meds that I was on. And I switched to, I actually switched to Counter Match. And that really helped me. And then some Counter Control. And then I realized what Beautycounter was. I was like, oh, there's bad stuff in everything we use. Then step forward, and there was just an article in JAMA. We've all heard about the sunscreen articles, and I had been thinking about that as well. But then there was one that just came out talking about phthalate levels in pregnant women and increased risk for preterm birth. And I'm like, I know too much now. I probably should be sharing this with people. This isn't just about like using skincare that works really well. There's a problem in this industry, and it's affecting the health of our kids and us. And I really need to share this. I'd had patients in the past, everybody asks you at some point, like, what should I be? Is it okay? What can I use on my face when I'm pregnant? Like, what about my lotions? What about for my kiddo? What should I be doing? All these little extra things. And before I was like, yeah, it's all fine. Everything's fine, except for the things for acne. But now I have a deeper conversation with them because of what I know. And I think that is part of the mission of Beautycounter that I didn't expect when I first said, yes, I'll do this. I knew about that we need to be limiting these ingredients, but I didn't think about it really talking to patients and then the people that I work with and sharing it with my family. But now I feel like it's a mission I need to pass on. What else? Oh, so I joined during the pandemic, which seems crazy. So it was really stressful. And I think that's when everything culminated, came together, and I kind of got it. And I realized everybody was just looking for something to feel better. And what better than I know something that's going to help people than to pass on a good piece of information that they can help take care of themselves and their families. So I think that's why I made the transition during the pandemic to join Beautycounter and Zaria. But I don't think that it was a conscious decision, but looking back, I think that it was what I was thinking, that it's something healthy that I can help people with right now when they're not feeling good about things and they're isolated, and it's something they can do to take care of themselves and protect themselves in some way. So that is how I started. And then I also did not expect the benefit of the community. So I had actually been searching for that, because being a mom to 2 toddlers, and I work a lot. I work a lot. So that was really my hesitation. I'm like, you are crazy, girl. I don't have time. I do not have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. But then I felt the pull to the mission. And you find time in the moments. So I think someone on our team talked about the moments, and you just find time between conversations with people, and you find times in the moments to plant the seeds. So that is how I joined, and I found a community now. I had previously been, you guys, I don't know your opinions about CrossFit, but I'd previously been a big CrossFitter and had a large community of friends. And now with how busy I am with life and kids, that has changed. And this has given me a like-minded community as well. For those moments that you have time, that you have somebody to join in with like-minded thoughts. So that is my story with Beautycounter, and it's possible even if you're really busy.
Yeah, actually, I love that too. And right before we pressed record on this call, we were just talking about how Kristen is just this natural at sharing about Beautycounter and just really thriving with this business. I'm sure you're thriving with your other business too, and so busy right now on the front lines. But you were just saying that, part of why this has felt easy and successful for you is because you're so busy. And I think that
Yeah.
common hesitation, I'll bet that was one of Zaria's hesitations as well. And probably Jessica's as well. I know it was mine. Just so busy, but I think sometimes the busier we are, the more conversations we have. And this is really just about conversations, because it's stuff that's really important to us. So anyway, yeah. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure
You're
we'll
welcome.
as well. So Jessica, I'm so excited to hear your story as well. Take it away.
Hi, so I'm Jess Reggie. I'm a pediatrician at a community health center in Chicago. So I majored in environmental science. So I kind of always had like environmental exposures and toxins sort of on my mind on the back burner. And then, as a pediatrician in clinic, I, started to see a lot of things like skin rashes and eye irritations and allergies and asthma. And then you get to bigger problems, things like early puberty and like problems with the reproductive tract and reproductive organs. And more research started coming out that those types of health problems, even if it's really basic, like my eyes are itchy when I put on my makeup, to something more serious, like, I'm talking to a mom who just gave birth to a baby boy who has abnormal genitalia. More and more research is coming out now showing, right, that these health problems can be connected to chemicals and toxins that are in our personal care products. So I was introduced to Beautycounter by a friend of mine who has a master's of public health and is a lactation consultant. And I was like, well, she's super well educated and she knows so much about public health and moms and babies. And if she knows her stuff, this is for me. And so I, stopped using products I had been using for 10 years. I was always super rigid and would never change my skincare routine and the products I used because I was afraid of those things. I was afraid of breaking out and itchy eyes and things that would happen. But I was like, okay, she knows her evidence-based medicine and she knows this will be fine. So I jumped in and started trying the products little by little. And then I was like, this just fits into so well with the things I'm passionate about and helps me kind of connect some of those things. So then I joined as a consultant. So I wanted to share a little bit with you all about, the things that I feel that Beautycounter has brought to my life. And so the first of those things, just new skills. I always used to say, you know, I'm a doctor. That's all I know how to do. Medicine is so focused. It's so like one track mind that I was like, I have no other marketable skills. I don't know how to do anything else. And then the more and more I got into Beautycounter, I was like, now I know how to do sales and marketing and budget. And, you know, you can update your resume, you can launch another side hustle, you can use all these skills that you're learning. Like I've used some of these things in Beautycounter to do other things in my life. And I also learned that, you know, sales with Beautycounter is not about selling. It's as simple as Jocelyn said, it's educating. You are sharing what you know, you're sharing your background, you're sharing your knowledge, you're sharing the research that you do, the things that you learn with other people and making their lives better. I mean, it's as simple as sharing the stuff you love, you know, the makeup, the skincare, the sunscreen that you love with those that you love. And so I just thought that was really exciting that now I had a few other tools in my arsenal. And I am also a bit of an anxious person, a nervous person, a worrier. And, you know, I found myself like the more I did, practice pediatrics, the more time I spent in clinic, the more and more patients I had, I would like come home after work and I would be kind of second guessing myself. I would be worried about patients. I'd be like, did I make the right call? You know, what if they get worse? What if I made a mistake? And just started to have a lot of nervous energy and just sort of anxiety around work. And then Beautycounter came into my life and I found myself channeling that nervous energy into Beautycounter, and I had an outlet. And, you know, instead of worrying about a patient, I was worrying about, you know, needlessly worrying about a patient. I was worrying about, you know, oh, how do I want to reach out to this person, or what project for Beautycounter can I tackle next? And it just became a really positive way for me personally to channel some nervous energy. And I think, you know, everyone in the healthcare field, nurses, midwives, doctors, like we all, you know, as much as we try not to, take our work home with us. And I, you know, it started to really affect how I felt. So I think Beautycounter is an awesome way to channel that. And I was so grateful to my friend that introduced me for this opportunity, because it's done so much good for just kind of how I feel overall. And then the other piece is just kind of, you know, I mentioned, I feel like, you know, medicine, healthcare, it feels kind of focused. This was just such an awesome way. It is such an awesome way to have a social impact in a different space, right? So you're not necessarily always worried about health and medicine. You're thinking about other issues in the social impact space that you may have never even considered. Like Beautycounter's done a lot of work in the mica industry. You know, that's a mineral that makes your makeup shine, but it's also an industry that's known for child labor and wage theft. And, you know, our mineral sunscreen, it helps the, you know, coral and animal life in the ocean thrive, and all these different initiatives that I had never even thought about. And so it's just really exciting to kind of have a hand in that and to add my voice to that mission. And, you know, speaking of adding your voice to the community, that I will echo what Kristen said 100%. I had no idea the relationships that I would form and the community I would feel, you know, once I joined Beautycounter. Just tons of awesome, empowering women, always there to support you, always there to cheer you on, always inspiring. So that's my story with Beautycounter.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really am so inspired by each of you. And I wrote down a couple notes while you guys were talking. And one of the things that I think, especially right now, that is so pure with this business opportunity is the sense of purpose that I think all of us are feeling. I've always felt that this has, you know, I've been with this company now almost 4 years, and it's always been purpose driven. It's always been something, like Jessica said, that like makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. However, right now, in the way our world is right now, and it's this unprecedented time with much heavy sadness for many of us and uncertainties, and to be a part of something that feels very hopeful and very good from the inside out, and connected and working towards something that literally we are part of history or herstory. right now, because we are starting to see legislation start to shift. We're starting to see hearings come up with Congress and things moving through and different subcommittees and get passed, or not fully passed yet, but like starting to see a shift. And we know that, and that's happening both in the US and Canada with Parliament. And we know that Beautycounter is leading the way to that. And it's just really, really exciting to be a part of that change. And to know that other companies are coming along. One thing that we didn't mention is the fact that we're a B Corp. And B Corporation is a for-profit company that's working also for the benefit of planet and people. And so Jessica mentioned for sure, like the way we are going way beyond quote unquote beauty. We are not just a beauty company countering the beauty industry, but we are a company countering anything that's going on in that we are even on the outskirts involved with, bringing more transparency to. So for example, Mica, and we just launched a new lip gloss that has fair trade and ethical vanilla. So all sorts of stuff that we're doing beyond beauty. I'm going to share a little bit about the actual business opportunity for just a couple minutes. But before I do so, Zaria, Jessica, and Kristen, do you have anything you want to add? I know, Zaria, you maybe, there was like hesitations there that you were going to talk about or anything, or did it get covered? You guys are good?
Yeah, I think we covered it. I mean, I have so much that I want to share, but I know I'm conscious of the time. But I just think that it's worth reiterating a couple of things. One, you mentioned Congress and us being part of the change, and the fact that our CEO was asked to testify in front of Congress was just such an amazing, groundbreaking moment. And I watched the hearings. And there was a moment during the hearings when I just, like, this all hit me so powerfully, was that a male representative, and, he was completely earnest in his statement. And he spoke in front of the floor and said, I just don't understand. Like, how has this been going on for so long? How has this gone undetected? The fact that this industry is unregulated, the fact that all these chemicals are out there and they're in our products, and he was seriously like shocked. And I wanted to just raise my hand and say, well, because it mostly affects women. So, and that was just this huge aha moment for me of like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm a part of this movement. And I'm just going to, when I'm on my soapbox, I'm going to add one more thing. I also had a huge aha light bulb moment the other day when you mentioned our vanilla initiative with the ethically sourced vanilla. We always think about clean beauty as like, it's good for me. That it's good for my kids or myself. The ingredients are safe and there aren't all these toxic chemicals in it. And like, that was kind of where I was focused. But Beautycounter has gone so much far beyond that in terms of the health of the people who create the products and the materials that we use in our products. And so from a public health perspective, from an ethics perspective, from, the health of these workers and their conditions. And that, so clean beauty is so much more than just like what is in the products. It is what houses the product. So like the packaging and where they come from. And so I just feel like we're doing it all. And it's an amazing thing to be part of. And now I'm going to zip it and let you speak.
I was going to piggyback really quick on one thing on that. It's interesting that you had that aha moment, but when you think about the B Corporation portion of it, it's made me, and I always thought I was a little bit thoughtful about this, but it's made me in my life think a little bit more about the purse that I purchase. Like, what kind of company is this coming from? Is this supporting? I mean, I'm trying not to do that about every single thing because you could make yourself crazy, but you try to support industry that's doing good for others in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's a small business, like a local small business that's trying to support their family, or I don't know, a handbag's a good example. But I think that has come to the forefront in my thinking just by joining this company because of how we do good in all realms.
For sure. Me too. And I hope that you guys can't hear my dog barking. but if you can, I'll keep it super short. So I just wanted to say that the person that invited you here tonight, whether you're watching this live or, and can you hear my dog barking? Are you okay? All right. I think there's a raccoon outside. Toronto has a major raccoon issue, and I think there's one outside. So whoever invited you here for sure thought that you would find this interesting, and perhaps it would spark curiosity or passion within you. And really, it's all just to see if it feels like a fit. So if you wanted to hear more, I encourage you to reach out to that person. If you're on our Facebook group, you can comment below. Really, we are just here to help to see if this feels like something you wanted to hear more about and see if it feels like a fit. And I will say one of the things about this company is that it's super low pressure. You could do this for 1 hour a week, 1 or 2 hours a week, if that, or you could do this for 20 hours a week. You could make an extra couple $100 or an extra thousands of dollars upwards. There's really no right or wrong way to do it, and it's all supported. And yeah, there's so much more I could say too, but I know that my dog is going crazy. So I will, I think, end there, unless, and anybody that's here with us, do you have any questions? I have a big, vicious black lab that would kiss you all if you walked through the door. So, all right, so we're gonna end there. Thank you all so much for being here, Zaria, Jessica, and Kristen. And we are here to answer your questions in the recording as well. So just please reach out with anything. And thanks again. Okay, I'll stop here.